All right, let's dive into something we've all seen. You know, the statues in temples, the figures on altars. But have you ever really stopped to think about where that all came from? Because this story, it doesn't start with faith. It starts with something much, much older: fear. We're about to uncover the truly surprising story of idol worship. So let's just get right to the big question, right? If God, or any divine power, is supposed to be this invisible, all-powerful, infinite thing, why do we try to put it in a box? Why would a formless, all-powerful being ever need a physical statue? It seems like a huge contradiction. Well, the answer isn't really found in some dusty old theology textbook. Nope. This story begins somewhere way more primal, way more human. It all kicks off with our most basic emotion: pure, unfiltered fear. To really get this, we need to go back, and I mean way back, before language, before cities, before all of it. We're starting our journey with a belief that was born directly from fear. I want you to just picture the world of our earliest ancestors. You're living in a cave. Your entire life is dictated by these massive, terrifying forces you can't predict. Thunder just rips the sky open. Rivers flood your home with no warning. The ground literally shakes beneath your feet. And you don't even have words for these things, just guttural sounds. Outside, it's a world of predators and sickness. It is a life governed by a constant, nagging fear of the unknown. But check this out. That fear, it sparked something incredible. You see, here, stage 1 is just survival, hiding from the storm. But then, stage 2, a discovery. They figure out they can crush these ochre stones and make paint. And that leads right to stage 3, communication. Suddenly, the cave isn't just a shelter. It's the world's first canvas, a place to leave notes, to draw what they saw, kind of like ancient photographs. Now, this new art form wasn't just about, documenting a hunt. It evolved into something so much more powerful. It became what you might call the very first form of protection. See, with this new ability to draw came an impulse to give a face to the unseen forces that terrified them. They started drawing what they imagined a higher power to look like, right there on the cave walls. The belief was that the image itself, the form, could literally protect them. So, the first prayer in human history probably wasn't some complex chant. It was most likely a simple, desperate thought: protect me, protect my family. And we can see this exact impulse get more organized over time. In ancient Tamil culture, for example, they had something called Nadukal, or hero stones. They'd set these up for warriors who died in battle. But these weren't just memorials. They were worshipped. The ancestors themselves became guardian deities. This practice, giving a physical form to a protective spirit, well, that laid the entire foundation for all the complex deity worship that came later. Okay, so we've seen how the whole thing started, but that doesn't really explain why it has such a powerful hold on us. What is it about a physical form that clicks with the human brain? Let's get into the psychology of it. Okay, here's a great way to think about it: electricity. It's this powerful, invisible force, right? You can't see it. The only way you know it's there is by looking at a meter, a physical object that makes the unseen visible. An idol works the exact same way. It's a mental tool that takes this massive, abstract idea of God and makes it something concrete, something our minds can actually latch onto. Or how about this? You find an old photo of someone you love, someone you haven't seen in years. What happens? Instantly, you're flooded with memories, emotions, the whole thing comes rushing back. That picture is a trigger. A divine image does something very similar. It's a psychological trigger that primes our brain to connect with and think about this divine energy that's otherwise completely abstract. And this is absolutely crucial to get. These forms are not just portraits. They are packed with symbolism. Honestly, you should think of them like ancient infographics. In traditions like Hinduism, every little detail, the thing a deity is holding, a hand gesture, the color of their skin, it's all a piece of data. It represents a deep, complex philosophical idea. So the form is an incredibly powerful tool. But what happens when you've learned everything the tool can teach you? Well, that's when the next stage of the journey begins, the journey towards the formless. And this is where a group of mystics and thinkers called the Tamil Siddhars just turned the whole conversation on its head. They came along and asked this absolutely revolutionary question: does a planted stone speak when the Lord is within? Wow, what a challenge, right? They're basically asking, why are you looking for God in a rock out there when the divine is already inside of you? And that question cuts right to the core of their entire philosophy. The Siddhars argued that real spirituality wasn't about external rituals or worshiping some lifeless object. No, it was about forging an internal emotional connection. It was about realizing the divine within your own consciousness. They boiled this idea down even further with this beautiful line, "If the mind is pure, mantras are not needed." You see? The whole focus shifts from what you do on the outside to who you are on the inside. So now we've got these two really powerful ideas that kind of seem to contradict each other. We need the form to start, but we have to go beyond it to really understand. So how do we square that circle? Well, it all comes down to one question. Is the idol a tool or is it the end goal? I mean, the Siddhar philosophy is amazing. It's incredibly profound. But let's just be practical for a second. Could you really explain the idea of a formless, all-pervading divine consciousness to a 5-year-old? Probably not, right? It's like teaching a kid to read. You don't start with abstract grammar rules. You start with picture books. A is for apple, and here's a picture of an apple. We learn about the world first through our senses, through what our eyes can see. The form, it's the spiritual picture book. So let's just map out this entire journey of understanding. Step 1, the start. It all begins with fear, which creates the need for something tangible. Step 2, the tool. That form becomes our psychological tool for focus and understanding. Step 3, the goal. The whole point is to eventually use that tool to understand a reality that's beyond any form. And then there's the most important part, number 4, the mistake. And that's when the journey just stops, because we confuse the tool for the final destination. In the end, it seems these sacred forms were never meant to be the destination. They are the map, not the treasure itself. So the question isn't really about whether idol worship is right or wrong. The real question is a personal one. An idol is a starting point. So where are you on the journey?